Hi everyone, welcome back to another section of this course. In this module, we're going to be talking about layouts, iconography, typography, colors, composition, and so much more. If you want to become a professional and great UI/UX designer, you need to start off with design basics. So now that you know the importance of knowing design basics, let's start this module. Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about layouts in design. When it comes to UI/UX design, the way we show the information in an app or website is so important. As a matter of fact, there is not a specific right way to create your own composition, so you can easily create a layout based on your own need as long as it is consistent and understandable to users. As you can see in the pictures on the right, both screens are well designed. Although the spacing is different, the composition is absolutely clear and consistent. You need to pay attention to consistency a lot while you're designing a user interface. No matter what kind of platforms you are designing for, the same rules apply to all of them. Alright, now let's check these pictures out. As you can see in the left picture, the distances are quite consistent. For instance, if you look at the distance between the profile image and the top of the screen, you can realize that the value is 50 pixels. And also the distance between the same profile image and the text field right under that is again 50 pixels. As you can see, the layout of this design is quite clear. And the reason of that is because of the consistency of spacing. In the next lectures, we will also talk about spacing and the importance of that in design. Now, if you look at the right picture, you can realize that the design is also clear in that layout. However, the only difference is the colors and the spacing. But as you may have noticed, the spacing is again consistent. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next video. Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about visual hierarchy. Visual hierarchy is about how we look at designs. Does it sound weird? So let's put it in another way. We as designers should put ourselves in users' shoes in order to realize how they see our designs. Content in any digital page layout will pursue a particular hierarchy. For instance, menus go to the top, bottom, left, or right of the screen, or a combination of these. Headers appear above body text. In other words, hierarchy is a simple way of staying organized from most to least important. Remember that users define the hierarchy of any app or website. The item that first grabs the user's attention is at the top of the hierarchy. The visual specifications that a designer can utilize to influence users' understanding of the information are size. The larger the element, the more attention it will attract. So if you're familiar with the HTML and web development process, you may know that we have 6 kinds of headers from H1 to H6. H1 is the largest header and H6 is the smallest one. So when we want to get so much attention, we will use H1. For instance, suppose that we want to get the user's attention to a specific section or a specific item. So in that case, we will use the larger header. Or on the other hand, sometimes we don't want to get so much attention to a specific section or content. In that case, we can use the smaller header. So size is so important. The next item is color. Bright colors are more noticeable than muted ones. If you do not have enough information about colors, you don't have to worry about it, because in the next lessons, we will cover all the necessary information about choosing the right color in your design. The next item is alignment. An element with a different alignment of others will attract more attention. So what does that mean? Suppose that you have a layout of, let's say, 4 different videos or 4 different photos. If you align only one of those videos or those photos differently, it will draw more attention to it. As a matter of fact, in that case, the user can realize that something is different. The next item is contrast. Sharply contrasting colors will catch the eye easily. Contrast is a very important topic in UI design, and we will talk about contrast in next lessons deeply. The next item is proximity. Elements which are placed closely together appear more related, and that's true. If you look at the pictures on the right side, you can see we have 2 different screens. Let's focus on the left screen. As you can see, we have 2 different sections, new promotions and new stories. Can you realize that elements in both sections are placed closely together so that users can easily understand that they are related together? The next item is repetition. Repeating styles can indicate that content is related. So what does that mean? Let's look at the pictures on the right. Can you see that we have 4 squares and 3 circles? So the user can easily recognize the relationship between those elements. And the next item is white space, which is another important term in UI/UX design. More space between elements will draw more attention to them. So let's look at the pictures on the right, but this time we need to distinguish between the left screen and the right screen. As you can see in the left screen, we have enough space, or let's say enough white space between our elements and our sections, so the users can easily walk through the user interface. However, on the right screen, you can see that all elements are very close together, and there is not enough white space between all elements in that kind of layout. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about visual noise in design. Visual noise, as you can guess from its title, is all about a screen or part of a digital product which has so much information and many elements on it. When you're designing an app or a website, you need to pay attention to details a lot, because by the end of the day, we want to design a screen which is user-friendly and easy to walk through. So make sure to eliminate all the unnecessary elements or information from your screen. If you're not sure whether your design has visual noise or not, it is recommended to ask for users' feedback. If you look at the pictures on the right side, you can see that we have 2 different screens. In the left screen, there is no visual noise, and it is great in terms of UI design. On the other hand, in the right screen, there is too much visual noise. As you can see, there are so many texts at the top, and then some items which could be videos or photos, then again some videos, and after that some stories. And you can recognize that there is not enough white space between those elements. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next video. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another lesson of this course. In this video, we're going to be talking about spacing in design. Consistency plays a key role in UI design. So when you're designing, you need to measure everything and keep it consistent. As a designer, spacing is up to you, but once you set it, you need to use the same spacing patterns in your designs. For instance, if you set the spacing between the header and body text to 8 pixels, you should always use the same spacing throughout your project. As you can see in the picture, all the spacing has been measured accurately, and it makes the design clearer. For instance, if you look at the picture, you can see that we have 50 pixels from the top to new pictures title, and then 8 pixels from new pictures to to the top of subtitle and going on and on. So in order to keep your design clear, make sure that you use consistent spacing patterns throughout your project. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video of this course. In this video, we're going to be talking about padding. Padding refers to the space between UI elements, and it can be measured both vertically and horizontally. But how should we specify the padding amount? Well, if you want to use your own padding system, you should be aware of the possible problems that can be arisen. What do I mean by that? Suppose that you want to set the padding between your elements randomly. For instance, you set the padding between your buttons to 20 pixels and between your text layers to 22 pixels. What's wrong with that? Well, remember that we design an app or a website for different screen sizes, and it may happen that our design looks great in one dimension and messy in another. So because of this reason, most designers use an 8-pixel or 8-point grid system. What does that mean? It means that we should use increments of 8 to size and space out the elements on a page. In other words, any defined height or width, margin or padding should be an increment of 8. So when we use the 8-pixel grid system, our design will be rendered perfectly in almost all devices. Sometimes you may use different spacings based on your need, but remember to keep it consistent throughout your project. Alright guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. So see you then. Hi everyone. In this video we're going to be talking about composition in design. What is the golden ratio? The golden ratio is a mathematical proportion between the elements of different sizes, which is thought to be the most aesthetically pleasing proportion for human eyes. The golden ratio equals 1 to 1.618, and it's usually illustrated with seashell-shaped spirals. This number was used in creating proportions for architecture, paintings, photography, design, etc. But how to use the golden ratio in your design? If you have a screen with the width of 1200 pixels, you need to divide it by 1.618, and the result will be 741.6. And now we can say 1200 pixels minus 741 equals to 459. So we have two sections with the width of 741 pixels and 459 pixels. As you can see on the right side of screen, here we have a screenshot of the Medium website. Can you see how it has been designed based on the golden ratio so it can get the user's attention to the right place at the right time? In this video, we are going to talk about design guide. What is a design guide? A design guide is a system that can help you to keep your design consistent. It can also accelerate your design process. The examples you're looking at are only a few components that can be used in your design guide. There are lots of things that can be included in your design guide, such as UI elements, typography, iconography, sizing and spacing, color palettes, etc. So having a design guide makes your life much easier. Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about colors. Applying colors to your UI elements is one of the most crucial parts of the UI design process. Do you remember what was playing a key role in UI designing? You're right, consistency. So you need to keep your colors consistent as well. For instance, if you apply blue to titles on one page, you need to apply the same color to titles on other pages. Or if you apply red to a purchase button, you should use the same color for any other purchase buttons on other pages. This is why we need a design guide and a style guide. If you look at the picture on your right, you can see that we used a specific black color for titles and we use a specific color for our buttons, etc. So it is so important to keep your colors consistent. Hi everyone. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about color palette. Creating a color scheme for a product might seem like a hard task, especially if you are a beginner. However, in reality, it's not as complicated as many designers think. What is a color scheme? UI color scheme is a mixture of colors used in your user interface. Almost every color scheme contains the following groups of colors: primary colors, secondary colors, accent colors, neutrals, semantic colors. What are the primary and secondary colors? Primary and secondary colors are the base colors of your user interface. The colors which are used most frequently in your UI design are called primary colors. Most designers usually choose brand colors as primary colors. As a matter of fact, it's recommended to have no more than 3 primary colors. Optionally, you can use secondary colors in order to distinguish your products and make more interesting UI designs. Alright, but how to choose colors properly? When you're working with colors, you should not create a combination of random colors because the result would not be the one you expect. In order to understand how to work with colors, first you need to know what the color wheel is and how it works. Here are important color combinations you need to know. Complementary, which are 2 colors that are on opposite sides of the color wheel. And the next one is monochromatic, which are 3 shades, tones, and tints of one base color. And the last one is analogous, which are 3 colors that are side by side on the color wheel. If you look at the right side of the picture, you can see that we have a color wheel here. As you can see, we have monochromatic. For example, if you look at the red, we have 3 different shades, or let's say tints of one base color. And also we have complementary. For instance, here we have purple and yellow, which are on opposite sides of the color wheel. So the combination of these colors is great. Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to be talking about color contrast, which is a very important topic when it comes to UI design. Applying colors effectively is a skill that everyone who works with visual compositions must have. So you as a UI designer need to know how to use colors in your projects. When it comes to applying colors, readability and legibility are the key factors. Researchers have shown that vibrant colors enable enough of contrast, helping to increase readability and legibility. Please take into consideration that too much color contrast may cause difficulty in reading. I highly recommend that designers should create a mid-level of contrast, and for highlighting elements, they can use high contrasting colors. You can also use websites to provide you with a ratio when comparing 2 colors to see whether there is enough contrast or not. If you look at the examples on the right, we have 6 different colors. As you can see, the first 4 are acceptable and have enough contrast, but the others are not readable. So when we are designing a user interface, we need to pay attention to colors a lot, because sometimes you as a designer want to be as creative as possible. However, creativity should come after readability and legibility. Hi everyone. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about color resources. Now it's time to look for our colors in order to use them in our projects. Most of the time, finding good colors is a difficult task for UI designers, especially if you are a beginner. Here are some absolutely useful resources for finding colors. Number 1, Color Hunt. Number 2, Adobe Color, which is so useful by the way. Number 3, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Coolers or Colors. Number 4, Web Gradients, which is another good website for finding gradients if you're looking for them. Make sure to spend enough time finding the best possible color palette for your projects. Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about consistency of UI elements. One of the things that you always work with while you're designing a user interface is a UI element. What are the UI elements? Buttons, cards, text fields, sliders, dialogues, charts, steps, tables, selection controls, menus, snack bars, etc. As you can see in the picture, I chose only some of them for you because certainly I could not put all of them here. However, you will learn about almost all of them in the UI elements chapter. Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about iconography in design. Iconography is a visual language used to demonstrate aspects, content, or functionality. Icons are meant to be simple and clear, visual elements that are recognizable immediately. You do not have to redesign well-known icons such as home icon, search icon, etc. Or let's say, do not reinvent the wheel. You can get access to almost all kinds of icons on websites for free or at reasonable costs. But what if you needed to design some icons specifically for your project? Well, in that case, you should design icons which are in harmony with your design and other icons. Keep in mind that icons need to be understood easily by users, so make sure to show consistency in your design. Hello everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about icons in design. You may think that working with icons is an easy part of the UI design. However, if you do not pay attention to details, you will not get an appropriate result. Here are some important points that you need to take care of. Number 1. Test scalability. Check if your icons can still be recognized at small sizes, such as 15 by 15 pixels. Number 2. Properly sized. The recommended target size for touchscreen objects is 7 to 10 millimeters. Also remember to add padding between icons to prevent incorrect taps. Number 3. Internal consistency. Use the same color scheme for all icons and also the same styling attributes, such as the size of borders. Number 4. Perfect alignment. Always try to have perfect alignment in iconography, but sometimes, because you have icons with different sizes, you need to balance them by yourself. If you look at the picture on your right, you can see that we have two different groups of icons. In the left group, you can see that we have consistent iconography because we only use outline icons. But on the other hand, we have inconsistent iconography because we use both outline and solid icons at the same time, which is not recommended. Hey everyone! In this video, we are going to be talking about icon resources for your design project. As mentioned before, iconography is an essential part of the UI design process, and it is so important to know where you can find engaging and standard icons. Here are some useful resources for finding icons. Number 1, flat icon, which you can find paid or free icons there. Number 2, Icon Finder, which is another good website for finding icons. And last but not least, Nucleo, which is an application and it gathers all the icons for you in one place. Remember that you should use the icons which are easy to recognize by users. So take your time and check out all the available icons that you may want to use in your project. Hi, in this video, we are going to talk about typography. What is typography? Typography transforms language into a decorative visual element. Typography is one of the most important parts of UI/UX design, so it is worth your time to learn more about it. When you're designing an app or a website, limit the number of typefaces and sizes you use in order to keep your design simple. Start with 2 fonts at most, one for the headers and the other for the bodies. You can use free or paid fonts in your projects, but I highly recommend using free fonts. If you would like to use paid fonts, check the license carefully. You should inform your clients that they need to pay extra for using paid fonts. Now if you look at the right side of the screen, you can see that I classified the typography foundation for you. Let's check it out step by step. Right at the top, we have properties. Every text line in any program has a baseline. As you can see, it is indicated here with the blue line. And also, it has the letter spacing that you can modify it in your design. Of course, there are more properties related to typography. However, for proceeding this course, it is enough to know these two properties. Now let's focus on letter spacing comparison. On the left, you can see we have the default spacing. But on the right, I modified the spacing of those letters. Depending on what kind of project you're working on, you can modify the letter spacing as you wish. Now let's talk about the weight of each font. Most fonts have at least 3 different weights, but some of them have more. For instance, a font can have 6 different weights. As you can see on your screen, we have here from light to bold. And last but not least, the classification of fonts. As you can see, we have 2 different classifications for fonts. The serif, which is the left one in the picture, and the sans serif, which is the right one in the picture. So what is the difference? For sure you can distinguish between them, but let me explain to you in order to memorize the rule of serif and sans serif. Actually, serif fonts have some kind of flat line at the top of them and also the bottom of them. Or you can say they have feet. On the other hand, sans serif fonts do not have this kind of lines. Sans in English and French means without. So sans serif means without serif. You as a designer are responsible for choosing the best weight of fonts and also the best classification depending on what kind of project you are working on. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next video. Hi everyone. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about fonts in design. As a designer, you always work with different fonts, so you need to know how to use them properly. As it was mentioned in the typography section, it is recommended to work with 2 different fonts at most to keep your UI simple. What are the best fonts for UI design? Number 1, San Francisco. It is best for modern websites and mobile apps. Number 2, Open Sans. It is best for websites and mobile apps. Number 3, Montserrat. It is best for minimal websites and mobile apps. Number 4, Proxima Nova. It is great for modern content-centric websites and mobile apps. And last but not least, Roboto. It is best for modern websites and mobile apps as well. Hey everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about font resources. Sometimes choosing the right fonts for your projects could be tricky and time consuming. So in this part, you're gonna know about the best online resources to get your fonts easily. The first website is called Google Fonts, which is so famous and you can find free fonts there. The second website is called My Fonts and you can find free and paid fonts there. And last but not least, you can check out the Adobe Fonts website, which you can find paid fonts there. If you are having troubles with pairing fonts, you can also use TypeWolf or FontPair. Hi everyone, welcome back to another section of this course. In this topic, we're going to be talking about UI elements, which are so important when you're designing a user interface. In the next series of videos, we are going to talk about text fields, buttons, sliders, cards, dialogues, or even steppers and charts. So if you are confused about all those elements, I suggest you watching this section. So see you in the next series of videos. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of this module. In this video, we're going to be talking about text fields. As you may know, text fields are UI elements which allow users to enter a text into a UI. They usually appear in dialogues and forms. Almost every mobile apps and also websites use at least one kind of text fields. For instance, you can use them for entering dates, names, time, etc. As a UI designer, you need to know the anatomy of a text field as described in the picture. You may find different kinds of text fields on different platforms. So it is recommended to know about the standard UI elements that a specific operating system uses. If you look at the picture on the right, you can see that we have the anatomy of a text field. As you can see, we have label, we have the input text, we have the trailing icon, which is optional. As you can see, it's number 3. Also, we have activation indicator. Sometimes you may use voice input icon or even a drop-down icon. And at the end, you can see that we design different states of a text field. For example, if the user enters the password incorrectly, the text field's color may change to something else, for instance, red. Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about buttons in design. Buttons let users take actions. So whenever a user needs to do something, buttons come into play. I think now you understand how important it is to know about button designing. When you're designing a button, make sure to pay attention to the following points. Number 1. States. Design all states of the button, such as active, inactive, tapped, hover, etc. Number 2. Hierarchy. Know about the hierarchy of your buttons. For instance, whether it's high emphasis, medium emphasis, or low emphasis. Number 3. Placement. Multiple button types can be utilized to represent various emphasis levels. Number 4. Text button. Text buttons are typically used for less pronounced actions. For example, in dialogues and cards. And last but not least, contrast. Buttons should have enough contrast to express the importance of their functionality. So if you look at the picture on the right, you can see that we have different states of a button. For instance, we have active. As you can see, it has a sharp color and the opacity is 100%. On the other hand, we have inactive to show that this button is disabled for now, which is gray here. And also we have tapped. So when the user taps that button, it changes to that specific color. As you can see, we have that light blue. And at the end, as you can see, we have 4 different buttons. We have text button, also we have outline button, and then contain button, and also toggle button. And you need to use them carefully when you're designing a user interface, because it is so important to know the user's expectation, and also in terms of user experience, it's better to use the correct type of button in your design. Hey everyone! In this video, we are going to talk about sliders in design. Sliders allow users to make selections from a range of values. They are ideal for adjusting settings such as brightness, volume, etc. Sliders can have icons on both sides of the bar. When you're designing a slider, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1. States. Design all states of the slider such as enable, disable, tapped, hover, etc. just like buttons. Number 2. Adjusting. Sliders should only be used for choosing selections from a range of values. Number 4. Quickness. Sliders should react immediately, so changes must be instantaneous. And last but not least, accessibility. Sliders should provide the whole range of choices available to the user to select from. If you look at the picture on the right side, you can see that we have 2 different sliders. The first one is continuous slider. And as you can see, in this kind of slider, you can modify it continuously and without any interruption. On the other hand, in the second type of sliders, which is discrete slider, you cannot modify it without any interruption. There are some fixed points that the user can choose from. Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about tooltips in design. Tooltips are for displaying informative text when users hover over, focus on, or tap an element. When you're designing a tooltip, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1. Conciseness. Tooltips should only display a brief text. Don't add an image or detailed information. Number 2. Pairing. Tooltips are always paired nearby the element with which they are associated. And last but not least, transitory. Tooltips appear on hover, focus, or touch, and disappear after short duration. The recommended time is 1.5 seconds. As you can see on the right side, we have a tooltip which shows informative text. We have a shortcut for bold, and also we have additional information here, save, for confirm button. So make sure to use them properly. Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about selection controls. Selection controls allow users to easily select between different options. It's useful for declaring preferences such as settings. When you're designing a selection control, make sure to pay attention to the following points. Number 1. Familiarity. Selection controls have been used in UI design for a long time and should be utilized as expected. Number 2. Efficiency. Selection controls let users easily compare two or more options. And last but not least, scannable. Selection controls should appear in a way that users can recognize them at a glance. Selected items should be visually distinguishable from unselected items. As you can see on the right side of the screen, we have 3 different selection controls. The first one is switches. It's useful for toggling a single option on or off, and it is so popular. The next one is radio buttons. They are useful for selecting a single option from a list. And the last one is checkbox, and it's useful for selecting one or multiple items from a list. So make sure to use them in a right way. Hey everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about chips. Chips allow users to make selections, trigger actions, enter information, etc. Unlike buttons, which should be a consistent call to action, chips should appear dynamically as a group of multiple interactive elements. When you're designing a chip, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1. States. Just like buttons and sliders, you need to design all states of your chips, such as enable, disable, tapped, hover, etc. Number 2. Relevancy. Chips should have a helpful relationship with the content or task they represent. And the last one, compactness. Chips are compact elements that represent distinct information. If you look at the picture on the right side, you can see that we have different chips. Some of them have icons or even an image. On the other hand, some of them only have a text. So make sure to use them in your UI design carefully. Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about cards in user interface design. Cards are containers that display content and actions on a single subject. They must be easy to scan, and elements such as images or text should be placed on them in a way that certainly indicates the hierarchy. When you're designing cards, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1. Individual. A card cannot be divided into multiple cards. You should not merge a card with another one. Number 2. Independence. A card doesn't need to rely on its surrounding elements. It can stand alone. And last but not least, components. A card can optionally have rich media such as images or videos, text, buttons, icons, and thumbnails. Nowadays, most designers use cards in their UI design. So if you want to use them as well, make sure to use them carefully. Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about dialogues. Dialogues inform users about critical information or even tasks. They also ask users to make a decision or choose between different options. For example, dialogues can be used for asking for permission or even choosing from a range of different variables on a slider and so much more. When you're designing dialogues, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1. Hierarchy. A dialogue has the highest hierarchy and it blocks the app usage until the user takes a dialog action. Number 2, visibility. A dialog must be recognizable easily, so I recommend adding a dark overlay to the view and putting the dialog on top of that. Number 3, straightforward. A dialog should convey the message in an understandable and clear way. And lastly, buttons. I recommend using side-by-side buttons on a dialog, as you can see in the picture. Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about lists. Lists are a continuous group of images or texts. They are composed of items including primary and secondary actions, which are represented by icons and text. When you're designing lists, make sure to pay attention to the following points. Number 1, consistency. Lists must present icons, text, and actions in a consistent format. Number 2, action. Lists show content in a way that makes it easy to recognize a specific item in a collection and act on it. And last but not least, scannable. Lists should be classified in logical ways that make content easy to scan. As you can see on the right side of the screen, we have different kind of lists. For instance, here we have your contacts. As you can see, it's composed of images and text, and also it has an icon. Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about tables. Tables are containers that show users different records, such as products, prices, status, dates, etc. A data table contains a header row at the top that lists column names followed by rows for data. They are usually scrollable and easy to scan. So if you need to populate some data which are sortable and follow the same pattern, you can use tables. When you're designing tables, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1, expandable. Rows in a table can be expandable in order to allow the user to evaluate additional information without losing its context. Number 2, pagination. Pagination works by presenting a set of numbers in a view with the ability to navigate to another set. And lastly, fixed headers. Fixing the row header while a user scrolls through a table helps the user to know about the column name. Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about navigation. Navigation is the act of moving between screens of an app to complete tasks. For instance, you can navigate from Explore page of an app to the Profile page. There are different types of navigation. Number 1, lateral. It refers to moving between screens at the same level of hierarchy. The main app's navigation component should provide access to all destinations at the top level of its hierarchy. Number 2, forward. It refers to moving between screens at consecutive levels of hierarchy. And last but not least, reverse. It refers to moving backward through screens, either hierarchically within an app or chronologically within one app or across different apps. Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about menus in user interface design. A menu displays a list of choices on a provisional surface. It appears when users interact with a button, action, or other kinds of controls. Menus allow users to make a selection from multiple options. Unlike selection controls, menus are less outstanding and take less space. When you're designing menus, make sure to pay attention to the following points. Number 1, scannable. Menu options should be easy to scan. Number 2, quick. Menus should be easy to open, close, and interact with. And last but not least, placement. Menus appear in front of all other UI elements. Hello everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about charts. Charts help users to compare values in a visualized way. When it comes to comparing many values, it's much easier to look at charts rather than numbers in a grid. When you're designing charts, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1, visibility. Visibility of a chart is so important because sometimes you have a chart with very small details. Number 2, consistency. Place your charts on a card in order to keep your design clean and consistent. And lastly, margins. Make sure that there is enough white space between your charts and other elements. Later on in this course, you will learn how to create charts and how to use them in your projects. Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to be talking about steppers. Steppers show progress through a sequence of logical and numbered steps. Sometimes you may use them for navigation. Steppers may display a temporary feedback message after a step is saved. Using steppers could help users to avoid losing their focus when they need to fill up forms or take some action. When you're designing steppers, make sure to pay attention to the following things. Number 1. Sections. Do not embed steppers into other steppers or use multiple steppers on one page. Number 2. Types. Generally, there are two types of steps: editable steps and non-editable steps. We have horizontal steppers and vertical steppers. And lastly, feedback. You can optionally design transient feedback to show the users the progression. You should only use feedback whenever there is a line latency between steps. Hi everyone! In this video we're going to be talking about snack bars. Snack bars provide concise feedback about an operation through a message at the bottom of the screen. They should contain a single line of text directly related to the operation performed. They may contain a button as well. When you're designing snack bars, make sure to pay attention to the following points. Number 1. It should be brief. Snack bars should only display brief information about an operation and not detailed information. Number 2. Transient. Snack bars automatically time out from the screen, so they should disappear quickly. And last but not least, hierarchy. If the action is important enough to block the app usage, you can use dialogues instead of snack bars. In snack bars, only use one button if it's needed, and not more. As you can see on the right side of the screen, we have two different examples. The first group of snack bars are designed perfectly because it doesn't have more than one button, and the colors that have been used are great. However, on the other hand, the second group of our snack bars has two buttons, which is not ideal for snack bars, and also it used an icon in addition to the text.